Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome to another rendition of Marissa's Nubian romance novels. I hope everyone had a good day today. And so tonight, coming to you again with Them's Eve's Daughters. Yes. I will be rendering chapters 19 and 20. And so on Tuesday, you got to meet Zeus. Yeah, Zeus, who's been in love with Maybelle for many, many years. Maybelle got weak and gave in. Bless her heart. We all do sometimes, one thing to another. Doesn't have to be the same weakness. And then Thomas died. Good for him. Well, you don't want to say that. Nonetheless, Thomas dead. And so we are at the pod where we are at the hospital to find out how little Jolene and Naomi, how they're doing. And so we are going to begin with chapter 19. Hey, Nikki, thank you for tuning in. Chief Justin entered the hospital feeling horrible about what had happened. He felt he could have somehow avoided the incident had he known about the warrant that had been issued on Thomas. Chief Justin walked toward the nurse's station and inquired about Naomi and Jolene. The nurse told him Naomi's condition wasn't so bad, but Jolene was still unconscious. He asked if Eve was still in the hospital, and the nurse told him yes, as she pointed toward the waiting room area. As he walked down the hallway of the hospital, it seemed especially quiet to him. He wished he didn't have to question anyone involved, but he had to do his job. He inhaled deeply and exhaled slowly as he neared the living room, the waiting room. He stopped just outside as he saw Eve crying, while Marcus held her securely in his arms. Chief Justin cleared his throat as he entered the waiting room. Eve looked up and saw the sheriff standing humbly before her. He looked like this was the last place he wanted to be. Chief Justin, I'm sorry about your girls, Eve. I declare I am. And I know this is a bad time, but I gotta find out who killed Thomas for the record. I did, Marcus volunteered. No, he didn't, Chief. I killed him, Don Paul said. Chief Justin looked between Marcus and Don Paul. All right now, let me get this straight. Reverend, you say you killed him, and Don Paul, you say you killed him. Now, between the both of you, one of you did it. Now, who was it? I did it, Margaret volunteered. Now, Margaret, I know Don Paul is your husband and all, and you do anything to help him, but I said I killed Thomas, Chief, because I did. He raped that little girl. I did it. I shot my brother. I did it. I'm the one who killed Thomas. And the stab wounds, where'd all those stab wounds come from? You did that too, Margaret? I did it. I did that. Gracious, I thought I was the one who killed him. Marcus said, looking at Margaret. No, Reverend, but from the look of the indent of the knife made on his neck, and it looked like you gut him like a pig, he was gonna die sooner or later. But what killed him was the 3 bullets in his head and the other 3 in his heart. Gracious, this is a mess. From what all I can tell, this was all self-defense. Don't y'all think? Everybody looked at one another and nodded. Good, I'm a rule it as such. Ain't no need in you good people worrying about any kind of prosecution. As far as I'm concerned, he got what he deserved. Margaret, I know you didn't know it, but the sheriff from Briscoe County called me today because he wanted Thomas picked up. Seemed he molested a little boy back in his hometown. Margaret looked at him with wide eyes. Eve, you got my sympathy. If it's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to call. Thank you, Chief Justin. I appreciate that. Well, you good night. You all good people. Take care. Not Chief, Don Paul said as he shook his hand. After Chief Justin left, Doc David came in to deliver his findings. Everyone rose to their feet, anxious to hear the news of Jolene and Naomi's condition. Eve, Marcus. Doc David, can we see them now? Marcus asked, rising to his feet. In a minute, son, in a minute. They both gonna be fine. Naomi just woke up. I have to tell you, Eve, Naomi must have fought that man with all her might. Both her hands are broke, and her left shoulder is dislocated too. Eve burst into tears. Marcus held her tight. Calm down now, calm down. She gonna be fine. I don't know, but she's almost 4 months pregnant, Eve. 4 months. Again, Eve almost went faint, but Marcus held her tight. What you want me to do, Eve? Eve looked at Cato, and Cato looked back at her with pleading eyes. Maybelle called Eve's name softly. Eve, please, please, Eve. It's okay. Let her keep the baby, Doc. What about Jolene? Did he touch my baby? Did he hurt her? No, he ain't touch her. Not at all. Doc David flatly assured her. She hit her head real hard though, Eve. And to be quite honest, I don't know if she's in a coma or not. We done run all the tests we know how, everything possible. I declare, I want to say she's asleep, but honestly, I just don't know, Eve. I honestly don't know, he said, shaking his head. Can we see her? Can we see her now? Please. Just for a minute, Marcus. I don't want everybody rushing in there on her at the same time now. Cato, you can go on in with Naomi. Maybelle, please. Take care of my baby. I gotta go see Jolene. You go on, Eve. I'll take care of Naomi. I'll let her know you're here. Go on now, she said, embracing her. Thank you, Maybelle. Tell her I'm coming just as soon as I find out what's going on with Jolene. Tell her I'll be there. I will, baby. Go on, Eve. I got Naomi. Mama, we want to see her too, Pandora and Camille pleaded. Come on now, just for a minute. Marcus took Camille's and Pandora's hand. They followed Eve and Doc David down the hall, leaving Samantha, Blaine, Solomon, Don Paul, and Margaret alone in the waiting room. You want to go, Samantha? I'll go when they come out. Thanks, Blaine. You all right? Yeah, Blaine said, moving away from her slightly. Blaine, it's okay. Why didn't you tell me? Now I know why you don't like it when I touch you on the behind, baby. Blaine lowered his head in shame. Blaine, what your uncle did to you was wrong. It wasn't your fault. You ain't got nothing to be ashamed of, Blaine. Please know that you're still a man in my eyes, Blaine. You're still a man. I love you, Blaine. I love you, Samantha said as she embraced him tightly. Blaine kissed her and held her tightly in his arms. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you. Granddaddy, Solomon said as he woke up and saw Don Paul. Don Paul picked Solomon up in his arms and embraced him tightly. Yes, son, it's Granddaddy. How's my big boy doing? I declare, Solomon, I missed you. Margaret looked at Solomon and immediately wanted to take back all of the horrible names she called him. Don Paul was about to leave the waiting room with Solomon. He was afraid Margaret would do or say something to hurt his feelings. Wait, Don Paul, please. Oh, God, please, let me look at him. Don Paul stopped in his tracks. Blaine and Samantha turned in their direction. Please bring him back. Let me look at him, she said with tears streaming down her face. Don Paul looked at Blaine and Samantha for approval. They acknowledged him with a nod. As Blaine and Samantha looked on, they watched Don Paul introduce Solomon to his grandmother, Margaret. Solomon, being the loving child that he is, embraced her immediately and hugged her neck tightly. Slowly, Margaret embraced him and began to rock Solomon in her arms. Dear Lord Jesus, oh God, please forgive me. Please forgive me, God, for all of the awful things I thought about my own flesh and blood. This innocent child, God, please forgive me. Forgive me for everything, she cried. Solomon looked at his grandmother and wiped Margaret's tears. You cry? Why you cry? What? He can talk? She asked Don Paul with surprise. Yeah, he can talk, Don Paul said, smiling. But he ain't even two. He's a smart little fella. Ain't he beautiful, Margaret? Margaret looked at Solomon deeply because she couldn't believe how much he looked like Don Paul. Oh, thank God, he looks like Don Paul and Barbara Jean, his mama. She thought to herself, Don Paul, he looks like he spit him out. Even the cleft in his chin. Praise be to God, Don Paul thought to himself. Yes, he does, he said, smiling proudly. I say I couldn't never deny him. Oh, Don Paul, I'm so sorry for trying to keep you away from him. Now I see why you couldn't stay away. This is our grandson, Don Paul, our flesh and blood. Oh God, we have the chance to do it all over again. We have the chance to love him and make things right. That's what I've been trying to tell you this whole time, Margaret. We have a second chance. God is so good. He gave us a chance to give Solomon all of the love and guidance we couldn't give to Blaine. Margaret buried her face in Solomon's thick, curly black locks and inhaled deeply. Ah, he smells just like a baby should. Oh, Blaine, can you ever forgive me? Son, can you ever forgive me? Margaret cried, holding Solomon securely in her arms. Blaine walked over to his mother and embraced her. Ain't nothing to forgive no more, Mama. You and Pa done made everything right. Margaret caressed Blaine's face and noticed that Samantha was leaving the waiting room. Samantha, Miss Samantha, please, baby, don't leave. I have been just awful to you, just awful. There's no excuse for how I've spoken to you, spoken about you, and treated you. There's no way I could ever take it all back. But I am so sorry. I am so sorry. All I ask, Miss Samantha, is that you please let me be a part of your life so we can share Solomon. Please. I know I don't deserve it. I know I don't. But can we please start over again? Can we start this thing all over from the beginning? Please give me another chance. Samantha looked deep in Margaret's eyes and saw the sincerity. She knew that Margaret was just as sincere about making things right as Don Paul was, and that alone was good enough for her. Are you sure, Mrs. Pearson? I don't want my son growing up around no hostility and hate. I declare I just couldn't bear it. We don't have none of that going on in our house. Margaret gave Solomon to Blaine and rose from her seat. Samantha, thank you for having my grandson. Thank you, she said, embracing her warmly in her arms. Oh, Lord, child, the things I've said to you and about you, again, if I could take them all back, I would, child. You've done more for my son, what I couldn't do for him as a mother, and that was give him love and a home. You've been more of a woman than me at your tender age than I ever could have been or have been. But you stood strong with my son, and for that, Miss Samantha, I will always be grateful. Samantha embraced Margaret with a forgiving heart. They both cried tears of joy and relief. Samantha, he's just perfect. I've never seen a more handsome child. Samantha smiled and looked at her son. Well, he can be a handful at times, Mrs. Pearson. Can he come home with us just for a little while? Just for a little while, just an itty bitty bit? Samantha hesitated. She knew Eve would have a fit if Solomon went across the railroad tracks. I don't know, Mrs. Pearson. My mama's gonna have a fit. Samantha looked at Blaine for support and knew instantly that he wanted Solomon to go with him too. I'll take care of him, baby love. Ain't nothing gonna happen to our son, he assured her as he looked to Don Paul for support. Don Paul nodded his head yes. Are you sure, Mrs. Pearson? Samantha asked, hoping that she would change her mind. I've never been more sure about anything in my life. Oh, Blaine, please don't let nothing happen to him. I couldn't take it, Blaine. Blaine embraced Samantha, hoping it would help to calm her. Breathe, Samantha. It's okay. Solomon, we both coming home. You hear me? He told her, looking deep in her eyes. Trust me, sugar. It's all gonna be okay. I do. I trust you, Blaine. All right. Y'all go on. I'll stay here and wait with Mama. He don't need to be here anyway, and the house is a plumb mess, Samantha said, trying to rationalize them taking Solomon. I'll call you when I'm ready to go home. Blaine kissed Samantha and thanked her. Now, Miss Samantha, when you ready to leave, you call me, and I'll come straight away. That's not necessary, Mr. Pearson. I can catch a ride home. I know it's not necessary, and you don't need to catch no ride. All you need to do is pick up that phone over there and call me, and I'll be here straight away to get you. You hear me? Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Pearson, she said, smiling. That's my girl. Sugar, you be sure and call and let me know how Nay and Joe are doing. You hear? Don't worry, I will. Make sure you feed him straight away, Blaine. He ain't had nothing to eat since lunch, she said, kissing Solomon. I know, I will. Oh, thank you, Samantha. Oh my goodness, he's coming with us. Oh, Don Paul, we're going to have to go shopping. We don't have anything in the house for a baby. Oh my goodness. We need some bottles and some baby food and some diapers and some beard and oh my goodness, we need some of everything, Margaret said with excitement. Mrs. Pearson? Yes. Solomon drinks from a cup, and he's already potty trained, and he eats table food. What? All that already? But he ain't even 2. Yeah, I know. Yes, ma'am. Well, my goodness, this has got to be the brightest child in the whole entire world. He can read too? Well, he knows his alphabet, Mama, and he can count to 100, and he can add simple stuff too, Blaine said proudly. Margaret was outdone. Well, I'll be. Don Paul, we just gonna have to go get this child some learning books and some learning toys. Oh, and we gonna have to get him a crib so he can sleep comfortably, Lord have mercy, and a bassinet so we can put him out on the porch so he can get some fresh air. Lord, we gonna need a gate at the top of the stairs. He can read. Can you imagine? I don't know anybody's child across the way this young who can read and add already. Come on, Solomon. We gonna go shopping. We got things to do. Oh, my, Margaret said, taking him by the hand and guiding him out of the hospital waiting room. Blaine looked at Samantha and smiled happily. Samantha blew him a kiss and headed down the hallway towards Jolene's room. Whew, now, Lord, help me tell my mama, and please let her understand, Samantha prayed as she walked down the hallway and stood outside of Jolene's hospital door, afraid to enter. Don Paul stopped and looked at Samantha before he left the hospital. He saw her dilemma. He knew Eve was going to be upset, and he didn't want Samantha to have to bear that news alone. Don Paul came back inside of the hospital and walked towards her. Miss Samantha? Samantha looked up and saw Don Paul standing beside her. You scared to tell Eve he with us, ain't you? Samantha looked at him and started to cry. Mr. Pearson, she not gonna like it. And with everything that's happened, I'm afraid she gonna snap. Don Paul held her tenderly. How about you let me tell her? And if she says no, then it'll just have to be no. We will all just have to understand. Don Paul knocked on the door, then opened it slightly. Come in, Marcus said, coming to the door. Reverend, can I speak to Eve for a minute, please? Marcus looked at Samantha, and she lowered her eyes. What's wrong? He asked, coming out of the room. Nothing's wrong, Reverend. It's just that Blaine wants to take Solomon to his parents' house. And I said it was okay, but Mama gonna have a fit. Is he gone? Reverend Cook asked as he looked down the empty hallway. No, Reverend, they're at my truck. Well, he don't really need to be here, and the house is a mess, he said, offering Samantha his handkerchief. I'll get your mother, Sam. Shortly, Eve came out of the room. What's wrong? She asked, looking at Samantha, then at Don Paul. Eve, after all that's happened today, I was thinking that we could keep Solomon with us, just for the night. No, Eve said flatly and turned to go back in the room. Eve, please, listen to me. Your house is a mess. You got blood and glass everywhere. Your whole front windows are broken out. Not to mention the broken doors. Your house ain't secure, Eve. I don't want Margaret anywhere near my baby Don Paul. No. Where is he, Samantha? Why ain't he with you? I ain't got time for this. Your baby sister's laying in there in a coma, Eve screamed as she pointed toward the hospital door. Samantha burst into tears and fell into Don Paul's arms. Eve looked down the hallway and saw Blaine and Margaret carrying Solomon on her hip, re-entering the hospital. Oh my God. Oh my God. Please tell me I'm seeing things. I know that heifer ain't got my baby, Eve almost screamed as she began walking briskly toward Margaret. Quickly, Blaine took Solomon out of Margaret's arms and held him tightly. Give him to me. Blaine stood defiant and refused. Boy, don't you make me go through you. Blaine set Solomon down on his feet and he ran to Eve without hesitation. She picked him up in her arms. Mama. Both Eve and Margaret looked at Blaine until Margaret realized that he was talking to Eve, and her heart sank. Mama, please, he's my son. I ain't gonna let nothing happen to him. Blaine, don't you understand if them crazy rednecks wanted to do something to you, ain't nothing you could do to stop them, nothing. Solomon can't protect himself, Blaine. Things ain't changed that much. I know things are different, but they haven't changed that much, she said softly. And she tried to calm herself, realizing that she was in a hospital. Eve. No, Don Paul, she said, turning away from him as she put Solomon down and told him to go to Samantha. Eve, come here. he said, taking her by the hand and comforting her as if Margaret or anyone else wasn't standing there. Baby, I'd give my life before I'd let something happen to that boy. You know that. I know that, Don Paul, and that's just the point. Why should you have to? I don't want nothing to happen to you either, she said, looking helplessly in his eyes. Eve, you need to clean your place. You need to get it together. Now, I know you don't want him to be hurt at your house either. Ain't nothing gonna happen, Eve. It ain't as bad as you think across them tracks, and you know that. Most of them people who caused all that mess when me and you was together, they all dead and gone, baby. They dead and gone. She ain't dead and gone, Eve said, motioning toward Margaret with her head. Baby, don't let her come between what I can give Solomon. Don't let her do that. She done come between me and you. Don't let her do it now. Please, he said, caressing her face, then kissing her forehead. I know you bigger than that. Eve sucked her teeth and put her hands on her hips. Eve Sinclair Harrison. Don't be calling my name like that, Don Paul, she said, backing away from him. Come on, baby, for me, he said as he pulled her toward him by her waist and kissed her tenderly on the lips. For me, baby, he said, kissing her again. Margaret couldn't believe her eyes as she watched Eve surrender to him with each tender kiss. If Blaine hadn't been watching his mother's reaction and pushed a chair underneath her, she would have surely fallen to the floor. You all right, Mama? Oh, he really loves her, Blaine. He really, really loves her. I should have let him have her, especially after I had you. I mean, all I ever really wanted was a child. He begged me to let him go after you was born. But my pride just wouldn't let me do it. I mean, how could I give him up to a Nick? To her. How could I give him to her? Maybe if she would have been white, maybe it would have been different. Maybe. I don't know. But what I do know is that we all would have been much happier. I mean, can you blame him? Look at her. Look at her, Blaine. She don't look like she's aged a day. How come all the pretty women are on the other side of those tracks, huh? How come they all so pretty and they all shaped so good and we don't look like nothing? I don't understand that, Margaret said more to herself than to her son. I suspect your grandmama, Barbara Jean, was about the prettiest white woman ever on our side. I prayed every night, every single night, that you would come out looking like her, because your daddy looked just like her. You know something, son? What, Mama? Blaine asked as he watched Eve close her eyes, as his father caressed her face with the back of his hand. In all the years we've been married, Your father ain't never, ever touched me like that. Never. Margaret said through tears as she watched Don Paul talking softly to Eve, assuring her that Solomon would be safe. All right, Don Paul, Eve said, taking his hand in hers and kissing it. I'll bring him home just as soon as you get your house together. I'll call you every hour on the hour, Eve. You know I want to do that anyway. Eve smiled and giggled lightly. You're right, Don Paul. I know you're right. He ain't got no clothes with him, though. Come here, Solomon, and give your Nana a kiss. Bye-bye. You ain't got to worry about no clothes. I'll go buy him some. You be good, Solomon, and listen to Granddaddy. You hear me? She said, passing him to Don Paul. Yes, ma'am, he said, blowing Eve a kiss. Eve looked at Margaret and almost felt sorry for her, but that only lasted for a minute. Thank you, Mama, Blaine said, hugging her tightly. I'm sorry, Blaine. I didn't mean to talk to you like that. I was just trying to protect him. I know, Mama, I know. Samantha gave her son a kiss and told him that she would see him shortly. Solomon hugged her neck tightly and blew Eve another kiss. Miss Samantha, you call me when you're ready to go home. I'll come get you right away. Thank you, Mr. Pearson. Thank you, Mama, Samantha said, embracing her. Come on, baby, let's go check on your sister. Samantha took her mother's hand and squeezed it tightly as they walked back down the hallway. She stopped Eve just before they entered Jolene's hospital room. Mama, do you realize what you just did? Eve inhaled deeply. Yes, Samantha. Please tell me Marcus didn't see it. I just can't take this, she said, placing her hand against her heart. No, he didn't. The door never opened, Mama. You still love him, don't you, Mama? Mr. Pearson, I mean. You really love him. I do. Yes, I do. What you gonna do about the Reverend, Mama? I don't know, Samantha. I love him too. Lord, how in the world did I let this happen? Eve cried as she leaned against the wall. How in the world did I let this happen? Marcus could have stepped outside of that door at any moment and saw everything. It'll all work out for the best, Mama. You'll see. You'll see, she assured her as she dried her tears. Do I look okay? Do I look okay, Samantha? You look fine, Mama, Samantha assured her as she opened the door for Eve. Eve entered the room and stopped in her tracks as she looked at Marcus caressing Jolene's hair. My God, Marcus, what happened? I don't know, baby. I was praying, and when I looked up, this silver streak was in her hair. Even Samantha moved closer for a better view. Mama, what in the world? Oh, God, Jolene, baby, where are you? Eve asked as her tears fell upon her daughter's face. Mama, she looks like she's asleep. Jolene, can you hear me? Samantha asked softly as she held her sister's little hand. Oh, God, baby, I know you got something very, very special to do, Jolene. But whatever it is, baby, please be careful, Joe. Be careful, Joe, and come home. Mama's here, Joe. Mama's here. Chapter 20. Jolene sat in a beautiful green field looking at her peaceful surroundings. As far as she could tell, she was alone, but she felt like 1,000 eyes were watching her. She got up and began to walk, following the sound of a creek. Jolene watched the birds at play and wondered why the sky seemed so still. She looked across the creek and saw a little girl beckoning to her. For a moment, Jolene hesitated, but something inside of her told her it was okay for her to go. She crossed the rocky stream carefully. Jolene was surprised because the water wasn't cold at all. It seemed to energize her with every step she took. She finally crossed the creek. As she stepped out, the little girl offered her her hand. Jolene took it and smiled. Her touch seemed so familiar. "Hey," Jolene said with a smile. "Hello. What's your name?" "Zipporah." "You're pretty, Zipporah." "Thank you. What's your name?" "Jolene." "You're pretty too." Jolene giggled and said thank you. "Who's that over there?" Jolene asked. "Oh, that's Miss Davina." "What's she doing?" "Praying." "You know her?" "Oh yeah, we come here all the time." "Oh, are you afraid, Jolene?" "Yeah, just a little bit." "Well, that's okay. My daddy said it's all right to be afraid sometimes," Zipporah said, taking Jolene's hand and leading her toward Davina. "Did that mean old man hurt you, Jolene?" "Nah, he didn't. My daddy took care of him before he got to me," she said, smiling brightly. "That's good. He's in hell now, you know." Jolene stopped walking and her eyes widened. Who's in hell?" "That mean old nasty man." "Oh, I thought you was talking about my daddy." "Oh no, your daddy is a good man." "Yeah, I know. Do you know who put a spell on my mama?" "No, I don't. But Miss Davina is working on finding out right now." "What's she sitting under the tree for?" "I already told you, Jolene. She's praying." "Oh, you talk funny," Jolene said, looking at Zipporah oddly. "So do you. Where are you from, Zipporah?" "Brooklyn," Zipporah said with a proper northern accent. Jolene shook her head with better understanding. "Oh, and you? Where are you from, Jolene?" "I'm from Mississippi," Jolene said proudly with her southern accent as she straightened her back and held her head high. Zipporah mimicked her. "Oh, really? You from Mississippi?" Jolene and Zipporah laughed together. "Yes, ma'am, I am," she said proudly. "Oh, look, here comes that lady. What's her name again? Davina?" Zipporah turned around and smiled brightly. "Well, hello, ladies." Zipporah ran to Davina and hugged her tightly. "Hi, Miss Davina. This is my new friend, Jolene. Jolene, this is Miss Davina." "Hey, Miss Davina." Davina walked to Jolene and hugged her tightly. "Well, it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Miss Jolene." "Thank you, ma'am." You find out who put a spell on my mama? Yes, ma'am, I most assuredly did. And we are going to take care of that problem right away so we can get you back home to your family. They are worried sick about you. My goodness, you a pretty little girl, Davina said, gently pinching Jolene's chubby cheek. Again, Jolene smiled. That's a mighty special and powerful cross you got there, Jolene. Mighty special. Thank you. My daddy gave it to me. It belonged to his great grandmama, she said, rubbing it between her fingers. Your daddy is a mighty brave man, Jolene, defending you the way he did. Thank you. Zipporah and Jolene looked at Davina because they saw her looking around as if she were waiting for someone. What's wrong, Miss Davina? We need a little help with this one, Z. Zipporah put her hands on her little hips. Help? How come? Oh, we don't need no help. We can do this. I'm afraid not, baby. We're going just a little bit deeper than normal, Z. Jolene. Yes, ma'am. Do you know what we're about to do and where we getting ready to go? Yes, ma'am. I know we gotta go down to hell and fight, if that's what you mean. I'm ready. I'm strong, Miss Davina. Davina embraced her. You sure this is your first time? Old Z here, she is a pro at this. Zipporah laughed heartily. I know what I got to do. I'm ready. Let's go. Davina grabbed Jolene by the arm. In a minute, baby, in a minute. Now, what in the world is taking Michael? Were you about to say something, Davina? Michael asked as he magically appeared. Michael! Oh, Michael! Jolene said with excitement as she ran and embraced him. Michael! Michael! How's my baby girl? Michael said, embracing Jolene in his wings. Wow, they're so soft. Really, really soft. Michael laughed and his voice reverberated in their ears. And how are you doing today, Miss Zipporah? I'm fine, thank you, Michael. Jolene, yes, sir. You remember all I've been teaching you? Oh, yes, Michael, I do. And I had some for real practice today, too. Again, Michael laughed. Now, Michael, would you stop that? You almost knocked me off my feet, Davina said, trying to catch her balance as she covered her ears with her hands. Oh, woman, be silent. Boy, don't you be silencing me because you got wings older than Methuselah. I'll pluck those feathers right off of your back. I'm sick of you, Michael. Michael spread his wings and playfully taunted Davina. Stop it, Michael. Now, Michael, stop. You play too much. Stop. And you, my sister, don't play enough. I ain't got no time to play. This right here is serious. I declare, I hate having to go this deep down in hell. All right, let's go. Jolene, you stay at my side. You hear me? Yes, sir, I hear you. If it gets too tough or y'all get tired, you make sure and get under my wings and hold on tight. That means you too, Zipporah. We going in the hell together and we all coming out the same way together. Amen, Davina said, taking a deep breath and holding on tightly to Zipporah's hand. Zipporah took Jolene's hand and held Jolene tightly. Suddenly, the ground opened and Jolene heard cries of the damned. What's that smell? She asked as her nose burned and her eyes began to water. It's sulfur, baby. It'll burn your nose and eyes just for a few seconds, but it'll be all right. Flap your wings some, Michael, and clear the air. I know what to do, Davina. Don't be telling me what to do. You're always trying to tell me what to do. Look, I said flap your wings. You know this child ain't used to this smell. Get the air to circulating, boy. Davina, I done told you. I got your boy. Jolene and Zipporah looked at one another and giggled. Yo, Michael, man, hold up. Zipporah turned around with surprise. Uncle Jason! Uncle Jason! Y'all, took you long enough, blood, Michael said, giving Jason a pound. Yo, man, you didn't tell me my niece was going to do battle, he said, bending down and giving Zipporah a kiss. How you doing, Miss Davina? I'm fine, Jason, Davina said, embracing him. Hey, Z, watch this. Suddenly, huge wings sprouted from Jason's back. Lord have mercy, Jason, you earned your wings. Finally, congratulations. Yeah, I did. Thank you, ma'am, he said as if it were nothing. Uncle Jason, you're an angel now. No more Hank. No more Hank, baby. I'm here to protect the little ones like you and Miss Jolene. Hey there. My goodness, you're a pretty little girl. Hey, Mr. Jason. You certainly had a battle today, didn't you? Yes, sir, I did, but I slipped and fell. Jolene put her head down. Well, that's all right, baby girl. It happens to the best of us, he said, raising her chin with his index finger. As Jason talked to Jolene, he playfully pushed Michael toward the open pit with his wings. Yo, man, watch it. I ain't ready to go down in there yet. We got to go deep today. Ha, you scared? Man, please. I've been doing this thing here centuries before Cain and Abel was even a thought in Adam's drawers. All right now, the both of you, watch your mouths. We got the babies here. Come on now, we got to get these children back home. Jolene's family about to go crazy. One question, man. Yeah, Michael said as he flapped his wings and inhaled deeply, causing his nostrils to flare. Why the babies gotta go? That's my great niece, man. Why she gotta go? Why the little baby girl Jolene gotta go? They pure. Their spirits is pure as fire and light. When they get old enough, man, they're gonna give me and you a run for our money. Jason shook his head with understanding and took his great niece's hand. Things get tough, Z. You make sure and get under my wings and you hold on tight. You hear me? Don't you let me go. You too, Miss Jolene. Zipporah looked at Jolene and sucked her teeth. Oh, Uncle Jason, I know what I'm doing. We gotta watch out for Jolene. This her first time, not mine. You ready, Joe? Yes, Jolene exclaimed as she squeezed Zipporah's hand tightly and rubbed her cross between her fingers. Before Davina, Michael, and Jason knew it, Jolene and Zipporah had leaped into the pits of hell, screaming an ancient tongue that Michael was only beginning to understand. Lord have mercy. Look, they got wings, Davina said, pointing as she hopped on Michael's back. Man, see what I mean? We just to back up. Them baby girls gonna kick ass when they get down there. Yo, Davina, you gaining a little weight, sister. You feel a little heavy, Michael said as he playfully adjusted Davina on his back. Davina sucked her teeth. Race you to the bottom, man, Jason said with a grin on his face. Look here now. Don't be playing around with me on your back. I ain't got no wings. Rookie, they both exclaimed. That's all right, nigga. You just fly right. I ain't playing with you, Michael. Davina screamed his name as he suddenly flew like the wind into the pits of hell with Jason swiftly at his heels. God, I love it when you call my name like that, he said, withdrawing his sword. I'm gonna get you, Michael. Promises, promises, promises. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the conclusion of chapters 19 and 20. I bet you didn't get that. Jolene is surely a special child. And actually, the characters that you heard there, they are in the 3 other books that I can't read online. And so on Saturday, I will come back to you reading chapters 21 and 22. And I will be here at 7 o'clock. I want to thank you so much for coming on Saturday. Don't forget, you can still purchase Angel 5 and Deja Vu Desires, Cousins, and Letters. Thank you so much for coming. Please go to my YouTube channel and share and subscribe. And I thank you so much for coming. You didn't have to, but you did anyway. I want to thank Nikki so much for coming. Michelle, Jamelia Gonzalez, you're new. Thank you so much. Michelle Austin and Beb. Oh, bless your heart. Thank you all so much for your support. You didn't have to give it, but you did anyway. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. And don't forget, those who have book clubs or would like to start a book club or want to have group readings, the Cousins, Letters, and Deja Vu Desires, those are your book club readings and group reading books. Thank you so much. Peace.